You're not going to believe some of the features that the builder put in this home right behind me. We are located today in one of the most desirable communities here in Northeast Florida. So without wasting any time, let's get right into the walkthrough of this beautiful floor plan right now. All right, so as we start this walkthrough, the first thing you're gonna notice is the builder on some of their floor plans actually does install these pavers for your front driveway. Now, this is something that is a lot of times gonna be an upgrade with the builder. Sometimes it can be a standard. So if you wanna know more if this is an upgrade or a standard with this builder, you just gotta reach out to me. I'll help get you that information with a call, a text, an email, whatever the case may be. As we come up to the front porch, you're gonna notice it's a great size. They also stain the front porch, so that kind of helps lock everything in a good way. And then we get to our front door, which is a single door entry, but we get these really tall ceilings when we first come into the home. So again, you get this big 8-foot door as it leads us into our front entryway, where you're gonna see the stairwell to the second story, which we'll get to in just a moment. And with that stairwell, as you saw, they did that metal railing, which I think is super clean, super sleek, something we don't see all that often. Then as we come in, you do notice here, we do have that luxury vinyl plank flooring that the builder did in that lighter colored wood, which I personally love because it really does accentuate the space and it really does make it feel light and bright when you combine it with all this natural light with all these windows. But starting off, when we first come into the home, we do have our designated office. This office space is a great size across the board. And really, if you're gonna be someone who's gonna be working from home, having an office space of this size is massive to ensure that you have the space you need so it doesn't feel too tight or too cramped. In addition, we do have tons of recessed lighting in here. They do pre-wire it for a ceiling fan or a chandelier, whatever the case may be, whatever suits your fancy. And then we do have the French doors as well to be able to close off the spaces while you're working. As we continue to come through the home, we are gonna just pop up over here real quick. And as you'll see here, this is gonna lead to our 3-car garage. And I love the fact that the builder on this did do the epoxy garage floor with all their models. Now, what that tells you is that if that's something that you want and you want done with the builder, that there's a good chance the builder will offer it. It's not always the case. It's something that they just do those things for their models. But in general, if you want to buy this specific floor plan in this amazing community, which we will discuss throughout this video, at the end of the day, that is an option that you could have at your disposal. If you want to know though what it's going to cost you, just gotta reach out to me so I can get you that information. Then on the other side over here, we do have our half bath. So this is gonna be for guests. And with this half bath, as you can see, they tucked away the toilet, which is kind of a nice touch. I do love the wallpaper they chose here just to kind of dress it up to go some with the molding as well. So it really does have a nice clean look across the board. And that's gonna lead us next into our living room and kitchen, which I think is really the space of the house that you're gonna spend all of your time. So coming into this living room and dining room, as you're gonna see, it opens up on us. That hallway when you come in can be a little bit tight, a little bit thinner compared to this back area of the house. What I love here is, as you can see, you have your living room here. That's not your primary bedroom back there. That's actually a secondary office, which we'll get to in a moment. And we have our kitchen and dining room over here. And what's really cool with this kitchen and dining room is, you actually have a really large dining room area. And it's really showed off here by the builder by putting a massive circular table in here. And this is a table, especially with the seating arrangement that they have, that you could easily probably put 10 people at this table and it's not gonna feel tight, it's not gonna feel crammed, and it shows you just how large of a space it is. One of the biggest things I love when builders do is that they sometimes can give you these nice oversized dining room areas that you may not use on a day-to-day basis, but when you have large gatherings, it's awesome to have. Then as we come into the kitchen, right away, I do want to highlight, these quartz countertops. They did the white on white look with the white cabinets that are all soft close with the white quartz countertops. And so sometimes you may be wondering, is that too much white? And it can be for some people, but what they did here to kind of help with that is they did do some darker colored hardware, and they did a really cool subway tile light blue backsplash to really tie it all in and add some color, because it's never a bad idea to have some pop of color in the kitchen. In addition, we do have tons of pantry space. So you have the pullouts underneath your gas stovetop, and then you also have pullouts here, which is an upgrade with the builder. But if you ever have had these before in your house, you know how important they are and how much they can be worth it to have the builder do or even do after the fact. That's the biggest thing, is determining what should you do with the builder versus what makes sense to do after the fact. I was having that conversation with another buyer of mine, with another builder that they're buying a home with just yesterday about that. But moving on from that, we do have our gas range. We have our vented hood for it. And this gas range or stovetop does highlight that we are in a gas community. We don't have a ton of them here in Northeast Florida, and specifically like the Jacksonville area. What I can tell you is a lot of these neighborhoods in the St. Johns County portion of Jacksonville or Northeast Florida, you do find that quite a bit. So again, if you want to know where we're at today, we will get to that shortly. Then they did finish it off with the island with the big island sink. They did it, it's a Kohler sink, which is kind of the brand of choice for most builders. And it's that farmhouse look, so that's where the sink does kind of come over the front instead of having that false drawer front in the front of it as well. So I do like having that big farm sink. But it does bring up a good question that I want to ask you as the audience. As we are walking through this floor plan, I am going to ask you some additional questions, but the question I have with the sink is, do you like having the sink in the island, or would you prefer it not be in the island? I was talking to someone just the other day, and they actually don't like having the sink in the island because they want that to be more of a gathering space, and sometimes the sink, you may have dirty dishes there that they may not like. So I'd love to know your thoughts. If you want to drop those in the comments, that would be awesome. In addition, here with the kitchen, they did do the additional cabinetry up to the ceiling. These are going to be your 10-foot ceilings. And again, that cabinetry is going to be an upgrade, but it does show you what you could do with the builder if you so chose. We also have our double oven here, which is an awesome touch, that then leads us into our walk-in pantry. So this pantry is very deep, and it's a pantry that definitely gives you a lot to work with. The builder does give you just those standard wire rack storage, but again, you have that ability to, after the fact, have a company come out and put in some custom, custom cabinetry in here to really fit your wants and needs if the builder doesn't offer it. We then also have our KitchenAid oversized fridge and our KitchenAid microwave, as KitchenAid was the brand of choice for this builder, at least for this specific model home. And again, they sometimes go through different brands over time. So if you want to know what their brand that they use now is, just gotta reach out to me. But overall, great size kitchen. Love the pendants here. I mean, just overall light, bright, flows super well. It's a space that I personally could see myself spend a lot of time in, and I'm not the best of cooks, so that tells you a lot. Working on that, by the way. But then it brings us to our living room. And the living room here, again, great size, great room for entertaining. I mean, this is a massive sectional couch, just to kind of give some perspective, and it still doesn't feel oversized. So to have that, have the nice large flat screen TV, I could just picture myself being here on football game days, especially when the Jaguars are doing well, and just enjoying it with friends or family as, they're hopefully winning some of those games. Then we come over here to the secondary office. Now this office here, it's a nice touch to have two options. It means that if you wanted to make that front room a bedroom or this back room a bedroom to have a downstairs bedroom, you definitely could. And as you can see here, I mean, again, you get those tall ceilings, you get great natural light where this specific model home is. I mean, you get a beautiful view of nothing but lake and preserve. So again, it's just very serene, very peaceful back here. So that kind of gives you an idea of the first floor. There's still so much more to check out. We're obviously gonna go upstairs, check out what's up there as well. And then we will also check out outside, which I think the builder did some cool little things back there. Maybe not something that you would do, with your home, but just kind of cool to see what you could do if you wanted. So that being said, let's head upstairs now and go through more of this amazing model home. Now upstairs, right away, as you can see, I mean, beautiful views of the downstairs below. I love how the builder kept it open with the open railing. They did the wood treads too, which really accentuates it rather than doing that carpet that gets dirty and it's hard to stay clean. But coming up here, you do see we have a nice loft area, which could be great for a game room. It can be great for the kids, playroom. Depending on however you want to use it, you do have some options up here that I do like, and it gives you a secondary living space that, maybe downstairs is more, for when you have large gatherings. Maybe up here is where you're gonna spend most of your time on a day-to-day basis. Really depends on what you're looking for, but I had a client who years ago, they had a similar setup and they spent most of their time in the loft upstairs. Now you do still get some great natural light when you come in here as well. And then from there, we're gonna check out some of the additional bedrooms and bathroom. So, and keep in mind, as we're walking through this, here's gonna be our first bedroom upstairs. But as we're walking through this, if you have questions about where we're at today, what floor plan this is, what the price is of this floor plan. Again, I am gonna mention that throughout this video, but if you don't wanna wait, just call me, text me, email me. I'll be happy to answer those questions for you right now. But this first bedroom, it's a really good size. I mean, we have a full-size bed here. We have a couple other pieces as well, and it doesn't feel too tight, which I always appreciate. And in addition with that, we also see over here that the closet space, although it is standard as far as size is concerned, they did do the sliding doors with it, which I think is a great touch. Really makes it feel a little bit more high-end and less chance of things breaking compared to like those pesky bifolds that feel like they're never working properly. Then we get to our first bathroom upstairs. And this bathroom is really nice because you do get that double vanity. They did continue the same countertops and cabinets as down below, which I appreciate that. A lot of times you want those things to kind of match. And that isn't that again, that's one of those suggestions that when you work with someone like myself to buy your next home, if it's new construction, that I do bring up, because when you're building a home with a builder, when you're going to the design center, there's a lot of moving parts there. So knowing what makes sense to buy, what makes sense to choose is super important to stay within budget, but also get what you want at the end of the day. We then have our shower tub combo here. They did do that subway tile, but the stacked subway tile. And again, they went more of those blues, which you're gonna see a lot of times more blues used with different finishes here in Northeast Florida. And a big piece of that is it ties into the kind of the culture here with the fact that we do have so much navigable water. There's a lot that revolves around the water here that people focus on. On a typical day-to-day, people are gonna be out fishing, they're gonna be out at the beach, depending on the time of year. They're going to be doing stuff around water. And so a lot of times you're gonna see a lot of those blues incorporated into different builders' designs to play off of that. Then we have bed number 2 over here. This one is designed more as a girl's room. But again, good size here. You do have more of like a day bed set up here, but this is again about a full-size bed. It doesn't feel tight at all. And we do have a walk-in closet here as well, which is kind of nice to get at least one bedroom for your kids or for guests. That does give you a true walk-in closet. So I love to see that personally. Then as we continue to move forward, we'll get to the third bedroom here, and then we'll check out what's just, to door number 4 in a second. But bed number 3 over here, this is gonna be your third guest bedroom upstairs. As you can see, we got more of those blues that I told you about. I wasn't lying to you. I'd never lie to you on these videos, but as you can see here, tons of great natural light. We also have failed to mention up to this point, but we have great headspace up here. We still have those 9-foot ceilings, which is not always a guarantee you're gonna get with these builders when you go to that second story of a home. And then also with it too, we do have another walk-in closet. So of the 3 bedrooms upstairs for your kids or for guests, 2 of them are walk-ins. That's awesome. You don't always see that. And again, don't take my word for it. I mean, look at some of their videos on our channel and you'll see that with some other homes that they don't have walk-ins all the time. But again, those are just things that I love about this floor plan, that really does make it stand out. In addition, the last spot over here that we're gonna focus on is actually gonna be our laundry room. Now the laundry room's upstairs because, you guessed it, all the bedrooms are upstairs. But the laundry room here, I do like the fact that they continue the same cabinetry as what we saw downstairs in the kitchen as well as the bathrooms. We have the side-by-side here. You will have the option to do a gas or electric dryer because of the fact that it's a gas community. And then I do love the fact that they also still were able to fit in a sink over here to give you that sink upstairs, which is not always a guarantee when buying homes here in Northeast Florida. Some builders, they give you that option. Some builders give it to you as a standard, and some floor plans of these builders don't even have the ability to put in a sink in the laundry room. So that is a huge thing to focus on. If you want to know which floor plans allow and which don't, you just got to reach out to me and I'll help get all that information to you right away. And then finally, saving the best for last up here, we have our primary bedroom. So if you know me, you know the first thing I'm gonna talk about that I love about this space, and that is the tray ceiling. I love tray ceilings because they make the space feel larger. You know, this is again a 9-foot ceiling height, but with the tray ceiling, you get to 10 feet, which really makes it feel grand, which is what you wanna see from a primary bedroom. That's gonna be one of the focal points of your home. And again, this is a great size space, and we have a king size bed here. We have large nightstands on each side, have some little faux or fake trees, and you even have this little couch here just to be able to, you know, little book nook area, so to speak, if you just choose to use it for that reason. And we also have the dresser here too. So overall, I mean, just really great size, and just when you incorporate this many pieces into the space and not be, you know, tight, that says a lot, and that shows you just how big of a space it is. In addition, you also had tons of natural lighting, which I personally love. Then we come into our primary bathroom. This primary bathroom, as you'll see here, we have some amazing, an amazing vanity here, you know, again, continuing those same cabinets and countertops that we saw downstairs. You know, again, incorporating that throughout the whole home is huge, because sometimes, you know, maybe you do want it to all be a little bit different, but sometimes uniformity is nice when we're talking about the countertops and cabinets. In addition, you do have additional space in the middle. So again, they did not do soft close for those. But again, you know, you can never have too much space overall. Then for the shower, as you'll see here, it's a good sized space. It's not gonna be your largest shower by any means. It's not gonna be your smallest shower by any means. But overall, it does give you everything you need. I do like the fact that it has that seamless glass enclosure. And also the tile, they went up to the ceiling in these bathrooms, which is a huge bonus in my eyes, because that's just really, it finishes the look. And even if it's an extra you have to do with the builder, that's one of those ones I always highly suggest you do with the builder, because you really can't do it after the fact. I mean, you can, but why would you? And then finally, we get to this amazing primary ensuite. This primary ensuite closet, let me rephrase that. This primary closet, I mean, it is massive. I mean, this could be a bedroom in some houses, you know, for, you know, not a guest bedroom, obviously not a primary bedroom. But I mean, as you can see here, I mean, you have plenty of space to roam, plenty of space for activities. I mean, the fact that you still have a dresser here and you almost forget it's even here just kind of shows you just how large it is. I mean, this is, if you're looking for a house that gives you a true primary closet that you're gonna absolutely love, this is the house for you. This is the floor plan for you. You know, again, this is all just a standard open, you know, metal storage. But again, if you want something custom, you could definitely do that after the fact, and maybe even with the builder, but you won't know unless you give me a call, a text, or an email right now. But all right, let's now check out the backyard. I do have a little bit of a surprise back there to show you. And then again, you know, I'm gonna let you know just why this neighborhood, why this home is so popular in today's real estate market. So in your backyard, you get a really great size enclosure area. You know, you're gonna have a gas hookup here, you're gonna have your electric hookup. So if you wanna do an outdoor kitchen, you definitely could right there. And what I love about this is you can keep this open the way it is right this second, or again, if you want to screen in, you definitely could. But because it's enclosed like this on both sides, you get some amazing privacy. You know, your neighbors are not gonna be able to see into your back screened in porch because of how they designed this floor plan. Now on the flip side, because I always wanna give you the positives and negatives, on the flip side, it may get a little bit more steamy back in here because there's not gonna be as much airflow during certain times of the year. But that's why you have, you know, a spot here for a nice large ceiling fan to keep that airflow going, so that way you don't have to worry about anything and just enjoy your back porch. And then back here, this is that interesting thing I was telling you about. The builder on this one kind of showed you what you could do if you wanted to have like a little outdoor putting range and chipping range. And although this may be something that you would never do, it still is cool to see what you could do with your backyard if you desired in a community like this. So again, really cool features back here with the putting green. Something that, you know, I probably wouldn't do, but is cool to see. And again, how many times can you walk through a home and say, oh yeah, that home has a nice little putting green, an elevated putting green, you know? So it's just a cool little thing back there. Something you could do, probably not with the builder, but you could do after the fact if you desired. But again, this view, this is a view that, you know, is amazing with the lake, with the preserve. And it's to say that, you know, not every home site in this neighborhood is gonna give you that, but there are gonna be some home sites that could give you a lot like that. But again, you just gotta reach out to me so we can go over all that. So overall, that's gonna kind of wrap this up. But again, I'm sure you're curious on where we're at today, or what the floor plan is that we're checking out, who the builder is, what's the neighborhood, but also most importantly, I'm sure you wanna know what that price is and just why this community is so popular. So let's get into all that information right now. All right, so what did you like most about this home? I love to know your thoughts, so drop them in the comments. I love to sometimes hear what people have to say about these homes that we get to check out. But as far as this one, this is the Rowan floor plan. It is built by Mattamy Homes, and we are currently in one of the top communities here in Northeast Florida. We're in the Rivertown Master Plan community. Now, as being a master plan community, you do have HOA fees, and you also have CDD fees, short for Community Development District fees. So it is a little bit more pricey to live in communities like this, but you get some amazing amenities by living here. And that's a big draw for why people absolutely love Rivertown. We are located closer to the river, which is why it gets the name Rivertown. But this is one of the top probably 4 or 5 communities here in the Northeast Florida area at this time. And it's not a small community. They've been building Rivertown now for about 6, 7, 8 years, somewhere around there. And they still have another 5 to 6 years left. So it's gonna be a massive community once it's all said and done. And then you have smaller neighborhoods, so to speak, or pockets within the community. But overall, why people love it is because it's kind of tucked away. It's off the beaten path a little bit. You're not gonna be in that more fast-paced Duval, Jacksonville kind of lifestyle. You're still gonna be close enough to all of that. Because again, if you wanna go to the beach, you're only about 30, 40 minutes away. If you want to go to St. John's Town Center, again, about 30, 40 minutes away, or if you want to go to the airport, you're about an hour or less away. So you're still not that far away from all those things. But again, people love it because the prices are amazing over here for what you get. And Mattamy is a national builder that does build a very energy efficient and super clean product. I've had multiple people who have built with Mattamy, and overall, they enjoyed the process, through and through. But the Rivertown community, as I mentioned, just have many options. And again, one of those options is this Rowan floor plan. Now the Rowan floor plan is roughly 3,300 square feet, sitting around 3,306. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath floor plan with the primary upstairs. So again, if you're someone who maybe come from the north or out west and you don't mind the primary being upstairs, this could be a great floor plan for you. If you prefer on the first floor, well, we have some other ones in here that we'll be showing you that give you that first floor primary instead. So you do have some options there. But overall, it's super popular because of its size, because of its layout, because of some of these upgraded features you see. And it's a part of their more premier series. So what does that mean? Ultimately, that means that you are gonna be at a slightly higher price point, but you do get a lot for that price point. Currently, and again, this is always subject to change, but this floor plan runs somewhere in that low to mid 600,000 range. So that's a great starting point that you can easily upgrade and still be at an amazing price to get this large of a house in such an amazing community. In addition, when it comes to the incentives, those are always subject to change. If you want to know what Mattamy is currently offering for incentives, whether if it's rate buy downs, closing cost concessions, or even money towards the design center, you just got to reach out to me with a call, a text, an email, and I'll go over all that information for you and help answer any additional questions you may have. And again, if you stayed until this point in the video, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you get notified when we post more videos like this. And besides that, I'll see you guys again in our next video.